Okay. Hi. So we're gonna do some strength mobility work, and so we've been using that dowel, broom, mop, whatever it is that you have. Grab that, and then also some weights, and I also have a foam roller. I want to do a little bit of foam rolling in the beginning. Okay. So we're gonna start with the foam roller down on the floor. And we're just going to roll the parts out a little bit before we use them. I think some people forget that this is an option on days when you're just feeling a little bit tight. So let this be a spark for just keeping yourself mobile at the beginning of the class. I'm just going to do something really quick here. Okay, there we go. So yeah, so we're going to come down onto the foam roller. I like to sit on it. Sometimes the hardest part for people is just figuring out where the arms go. For me, it's okay for me to bring my hands back. I hope that it's okay for you too. I like to sit with my weight into one hip. Right now I'm leaning towards the right with my knees. So I feel this right in my right tush. And then I just kind of roll back and forth a little bit. And really, this is the part where you get to do whatever your body is telling you to do. So for me, I kind of just keep moving so it becomes like a 360 little massage slash wake up for this area. Um, and if there's one part that's particularly tight, you can hold there for a second and go back and forth a few times. Maybe go like in one direction with your circle, move your knees around in one way, and then go the other way. This is a really nice thing to do before you go for a walk. Just a quick little rollout helps to warm up the muscles. I'm still always a fan of this softer foam roller. The hard one is definitely great. But if the goal is to help your fascia find some length, sometimes I think the harder foam roller is so intense for people that it's like a little shocking. I don't want you to shock your fascia, is what I'm saying here. That's where I'm going. So we can go from one tush side to the other. Good to notice if one side feels a lot different from the other. Also, just to say this, if you're having any acute discomfort, don't roll into that, please. You can roll around it and near it, perhaps, but don't roll into any sort of acute pain, discomfort. If there's a tear there, you can make it much worse by rolling on it. So please don't do that. Let's try not to hold our breath. Sometimes when people start rolling out, it's so tight that they like hold their breath just to get through it. Breathe. I try and do this before I go to bed too. I find that it makes a big difference for my back when I roll my hips and my legs out right before I go to bed. Okay, so after we do the hips, we're gonna roll forward, and I'm gonna flip around and come onto my hands and knees and bring the foam roller underneath my thighs. And it ends up being kind of like a little bit of a forearm plank, so you'll just put your forearms down. I like to start with the top half of the quad, coming up towards the pelvis and then going about halfway down. And doing that a few times. And again, trying to just remember to breathe. This is very tight for me. So this is really good. This is really good that I think I decided to start with this. My right quad feels all sorts different from my left. All that is normal. We all have like a dominant leg, dominant parts. Probably do a little bit more work than the other side. And then once I've done the top half, I start to move down to just above the knee. We never roll directly onto the kneecap, just above. And then I go about halfway again. So down to where the muscles insert to the kneecap and halfway up. Breathing. And then at some point I try and do like the whole thing. So I go from just above the kneecap to the pelvis, all the way. Try and relax your feet if you can. I'm going to do a few more of these. One more time. And then I'm going to push myself back. We'll do two more things with the foam roller. One of them we did yesterday in class. I'm going to bring my hands to the top of the foam roller. If you've got lots of nice knee mobility, this feels good to sit all the way back towards your heels. I like to bring my knees a little bit wider than my hips. And then my hands as well, a little bit wider even than the knees. And then you stretch forward and come back in. One more here. And then come in, and I'm actually just going to do the thing that we did yesterday too because it felt so nice. Keep your left hand on the foam roller, roll out and thread the right arm underneath the left armpit. Come back in and switch to the other side. I'm going to do one more each way. And then we're going to come forward. I am going to actually, before I do the other thing I want to do, I'm going to put this to the side. Just roll this off to the side. And then have a seat on the tush. And we're going to sit on the floor. Hopefully you have a mat to sit on for this next little bit. If not, I'm sure it'll be okay, but it's kind of nice to sit on something that's a little softer than the floor. So I'm coming into this Z sit shape. And I'm going to bring my hands right behind me. So maybe in the beginning of this, you'll start with your palms down, or if initially you can come all the way up. So it's just the fingertips that are lightly behind you. That's great too. Use whatever you need really when it comes to your hands behind you. So I'm going to take my knees and I'm going to lean back into my hands, keep my feet grounded, and then bring the knees over so I'm completely facing the other side of the room. Along the way, the hands are there when you need them. You kind of keep your feet where they are. You'll end up facing, again, the other side of the room, okay? So when do you know that this particular exercise / warm-up / mobility move is not right for you? If your knees are angry right now. If they're like, I don't think so. I mean, honestly, I think that working through, tissue that needs to be stretched a little bit is hard, and it's confusing because sometimes it is painful. So it's hard for me to say you should definitely stop if something doesn't feel perfect. But acute pain is the definite. right? Hopefully it's intuitive. Now, the next step with this is using your hands less. So like ideally, maybe your hands stay here. For me, when I move through this, I really start shifting a lot. So I end up like on the whole other side of my space. You kind of shimmy with your tushy is what's happening here. So that's normal if that's happening to you. Not using your hands is asking a lot more of your core, your back, your spine, which could be good. And do one more each way. Okay, and then I'm going to come back to where I started on the mat. I'm going to bring my knees over to where they just were. And I'm going to bring myself up onto my hands and knees. And before we come up to stand, we'll do just a little cat-cow. Breathing along the way. And one more each way. And then I'm going to come back. Hands to hips. I'm just going to keep my feet close to one another and my knees just about as open as my sits bones, I'd say. I'm going to sit back towards my heels and then come right back up. And when I come up, I'm pushing my hips towards my palms, which makes the muscles in my tush and hamstrings fire. Sit back and then come up. Do 5 more like this. 5 and 4 and 3 and 2. One more. Okay, I'm going to scooch my knees directly under my hips, my feet in line with my knees, and I'm going to start with my left foot and I'm going to bring it forward. Okay, so this is the part where using your wooden dowel could be helpful. You may not need it here. We're going to go back and forth a few times like this. This is challenging. I can get through it for sure. You don't have to follow me in this, but if you want to, using the wooden dowel could really be a nice assist. So as I bring one leg forward, of course now I'm using my shoulder joint more. I don't want the goal of using the wooden dowel to do a bunch of yucky, weird shoulder work, if that makes sense. So be light here. Maybe put it lightly in front of you or to the side. Might be nice. Okay? Don't use the arm more than you're using your leg. Maybe use it a few times to get used to not using it. For some people, I think like for me right now, even just having it in my hand makes the movement a little bit less weird. Okay, so we're just bringing one leg forward at a time. The next time I come to my right leg forward, I'm going to pause. Okay, with or without your wooden dowel. I wasn't going to use it, but I just wanted to throw that in there for help. Take your left hand and press your left hip forward. If you need more padding under your knees, double your mat. Press your left hip forward. Make sure your right foot is under your right knee. Draw the abdominals in and just hold here. This is work for my left tush, my left thigh. Everything is working in my left side here. And the stuff is working on the right side too. Okay, so this should feel like a little bit of work to maintain this. We're going to add a little something to this. hands to chest or arms out to the sides. Keep your pelvis still as you rotate, exhale. And then come back to center, and then other way. One more each way. And other way. And come back. We'll switch to the other side. You use your dowel if you need to, want to, okay? So again, trying to find my lines here. Foot under knee, right hip forward, square off those hips a little bit. Try to have your shoulders and your hips as squared off as you can. So this is work for me. The more I push forward with my right hip, and I try to get my right knee directly underneath my hip, I'm working to stay fully extended through this joint, lifting through my chest. I have weight in my right knee and weight in my left foot. Lift the chest, belly is in. We rotate in one direction, exhale. Hips are still. And other way. Again. Other way. Come back to the center. And we bring that leg back. Okay? I am going to come up to stand through a down dog. If there's another way that you want to come up to stand that's better for you, go ahead and do that. But I'm going to come up and just take a little bit of time, stretching the heels towards the floor, sending the shoulders away from the ears, softening the knees if I need to at any moment, and just sort of push the ground away, send the hips back, and find that super long spine here. Let's take 2 more breaths. One more. And then I'm going to walk my hands and my feet in. Do a quick half hang here. Head is heavy. Soften the knees. And then roll up, roll up, roll it up. Okay? The last thing I want to do with the foam roller is keep it against the wall and just give the calves a quick stretch. So I'm going to step one of my feet up to the foam roller. You don't need the wall, by the way, actually. It's just, I think it's kind of a nice frame of reference. But you can just put the foam roller in front of you and sort of do a similar thing. You may need to adjust where your feet are. Press your hips forward. And that will definitely increase the stretch through the calf. Press the hips forward. Stand tall and breathe. And then we'll switch the feet. Yeah, maybe you need to do something different from what I'm doing to make all your parts feel better. For this particular side, I think it's a lot tighter. I can't stand like I was on the other side without it feeling strange. Maybe press the hips forward. It doesn't work as well for me on this side. So I'm just going to lift my back heel and lower it down a few times to be able to stand tall. Okay. And then we'll come down off of that. That feels good, right? Feels kind of nice. Okay, I'm going to grab my wooden dowel again, just like we used last week, and I'm going to use it behind me for squats. So the way that I use it, and it's helpful to me, and P.S. this is all optional if you don't want to use the dowel at all, you don't have to, but you get your 3 points of connection, the head, the shoulder girdle, and the sacrum, and then your hands go right where your natural curves are. So I'm going to start with my right hand up and my left hand down. Any hand that you start up with is fine. We're going to switch along the way. And I'm going to separate my feet so they're a little bit wider than my own hips. And I'm going to sit back and come forward again. So I'm experimenting a little bit with keeping my upper body a little bit more lifted. I'm a natural, like I lean forward a whole bunch with my upper body, which certainly isn't wrong, but having said that, squatting is not hinging. So being able to send your hips back like you're sitting in a chair and keep your upper body a little bit lifted. This is the challenge I'm just kind of working on, because I can take a much deeper squat if I lean forward a whole lot more. So that's just kind of another way. You know, and there's the taboo of bringing your knees forward past your knees. I just feel like that's a little bit outdated. I'm going to switch the way my hands are. You should listen to your body first. If bringing your knees forward feels okay, proceed with caution. I get to this place, and if I lean forward, I could go deeper into my squat, but I'm kind of just seeing how deeply I can bring my hips down without bringing my chest any further forward. I'm going to do a few more here. One more. And then I'm going to bring my dowel around. Okay, so that's really useful for me personally. Okay, so now I want to do a little bit of a similar approach to lunge work. I like to use the dowel just to keep my lines a little bit straighter. So I'm using my dowel, I'm bringing my left leg forward and my right leg back. And then I'm going to bend my left knee so it's kind of in line with the dowel. Lift the back heel so there's energy through the back foot. And then bring my right knee towards the ground. And I'm using my dowel a bit here. I'm kind of gently pushing down through my palm. We're going to do 5 more here. 5. And 4. And 3. And 2. One more. And then I'm going to switch legs. Right leg forward, left leg back. I'm personally going to move my dowel over to the left and then step the left leg back. So for me, immediately when I step my left back, this is a big stretch in here for me. Bending this knee, lifting the back heel, and down, and up. Try not to overuse this dowel, okay? If you're overusing your dowel, do something else with your hands. Put 2 chairs next to you. Don't go as deeply towards the floor. I would rather you work at using your legs. We'll do 4 more here. 4. And 3. And 2. One more. And then stepping forward, okay? And then I'm gonna bring my toes out nice and wide. Dowel will just kind of go right in the middle. Maybe I'll put one hand on top of the other, nice wide. And if yours is much longer, you can just hold on to yours. Wide knees, sumo squat. And then push the ground away. Super deep breaths here. Inhale down, exhale up. Inhale down, exhale up. Try to feel that whole foot into the ground too. Big toe, little toe, heels, inside, outside of the heel. 4 more here. And 3. You can even hold on to your dowel if you want some energy through the arms. 2. 1 more. Come all the way up. Hold here at the top, regardless of what your hands are doing. Toe heel yourself in. Come in and hold. Heel toe yourself back out. And it's hard on the rug. One more time in. Toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel. Okay, cool. I'm gonna put this dowel to the side. We're gonna come down onto the mat. I'm bringing my 5s and my 8s with me down here. We're gonna do some work on the back and a little bit more on the hands and knees, okay? So there's my 5s. There's my 8s over there. Down on our back first. Hands and knees second. Okay, so you come onto your back. Your weights are kind of next to you / behind you. Okay, quick little shin hug, because why not? Take a nice deep breath there. Long through the neck. And one more. Bring your right leg down. Interlace your hands behind your left thigh. Push your thigh into your hands and your hands into your thigh just a little bit and extend the leg up, reaching the heel to the ceiling, and then point the foot and go back down. Flex, come up, point, return. Flex, come up, long neck, point, return. One more time. Flex, reach up, point, return. Let's put that foot down. Come over to the other side. Interlace your hands behind your right thigh. Push your thigh into your hands and your hands into your thigh just a little bit. Flex up, point down. Breathe. Flex up, point down. Flex up, point down. One more. Up and point down. And then we'll put the feet back down, okay? Walk your feet in, kind of close to your own tush. Arms can come straight up to the ceiling. Feel free to put them by your sides if that's a better choice. Draw the abdominals in. Try to find that hips pulling in towards one another feeling to ignite your transverse muscles a little bit. Hips are gonna come up, let's say just a few inches. Okay, so push through, especially your heels here. You may need to scoot your feet in towards one another along the way. And we're going to experiment with shifting the weight and lifting one foot at a time. Shift your weight into the other foot and lift the other leg. So it's a little bit of like a small march at first. And you could gradually come up a little bit more, one leg at a time. Pushing through that one leg. So in a similar way, we kind of practiced this when we were on our knees. Pushing down with one knee to push the hip forward. You're kind of igniting the muscles around the joint just to keep yourself stable as you bring that opposite leg up, right? And you can make it more dynamic by bringing that leg up to the ceiling and then switching and doing the other side. And it's probably pretty clear, arms down by your sides would give you a lot more help here. We'll do one more each way. And then feet down, hips down, relax your parts, okay? Just scoot your feet out a little bit so you're in a bit more of a comfortable position. I'm going to reach over here and roll to the side, grab my 2-5 weights, pull them in towards my center, and then come back. Okay, so elbows are right by your ribs. Feet, again, comfortable position, long neck. I'm just going to push straight up towards the ceiling. And I'm going to keep my hands over my sort of shoulders or kind of close towards being in line with my ears. Keeping my hands apart, I'm going to bend and bring the weights back behind me, re-extend, and then I'm gonna bend, bring my my elbows by my ribs, and then re-extend. So it's a little bit of a double move. Bend, extend, bend, extend, bend, reach, down, and up, bend, and bend. Breathe. And down. We're going to do 3 more sets here. 3. 3. 2. 2. 1. And 1. Hold here. Turn your palms forward. Arms are nice and straight. We'll widen the elbows, tap the elbows back down, come up, turn your palms to face one another, open east and west, and then come back in. So palms forward, elbows bend to come down. Rotate through your wrist and arm and then open wide, keeping your palms facing one another. Soft elbow is fine there too. Go as far as you feel like you should. Bend, extend, rotate, apart from one another, back in, rotate, bend, up, open, and closed. 3 more. 3, 3, 2, and 2, 1, and 1. And then let's just bring the elbows down by your sides, weights down right outside of your own hips, and just kind of wiggle your fingers, rest your hands on top of the weights for just a moment, okay? Keep the weights right by your sides. Draw the abdominals in. Let's bring the legs up into tabletop here. Keep the right leg where it is, and then lower the left leg down, tap, and return. So a really good connection through the abdominals here to keep your midsection nice and still. As you lower one leg, there's nothing that changes through the midsection except for the fact that it really requires a lot of work to keep yourself nice and still. Super deep breaths. 2 more sets here. The closer your heel is to your tush when you put your leg down, the easier it is, okay? So adjust. If you want to go all the way out, go ahead and do that. Good, now hold here. If your weights will stay there, fine. If not, just lay them down. Bring your arms to the ceiling. Now we're gonna add one arm reaches back as the other leg reaches out and return. And then the others. Change your range of motion if you need to. 2 more sets. And 2. 1 more each way. Other side. And return. Woo, come all the way down. Inhale, exhale. Okay, so we're gonna come back to that first arm series again. All right, so arms are gonna bend. I'm gonna keep this weight for now. I could go up to the 8. I think I'm gonna do that for my 3rd set, okay? So abdominals are pulled in, draw your belly in, nice and long through the neck, and we go straight up, bend, extend, down and up. Bend, extend, down and up. Bend, down and up. 4 more. 4. And 3. And 2. 1 more. And now we turn so the palms face forward, wide row, extend, rotate, out and in. Wide row, chest press type thing. 4 more here. And 3. And 2. 1 more each way. And then come all the way down. And all the way down with the weights again. Okay, we're coming back to palms on the weights. Wiggle your fingers. Make sure that you're not carrying any excess tension in these joints here. Keep your hands on the mat if you want. Legs are going to come back up again. Okay, so reach through the fingers and really kind of plug the shoulders in. Draw the shoulder girdle in and draw the abdominals in here. This time we're going to do like a bicycle move. So you'll extend your right leg in, find the floor, and then sort of drag it in as you're doing one circle, the other one, just like it would be if you were riding a bicycle. Lots of focus on the belly here. 3 more. Change how your arms are if you want to, by the way. I just kind of wanted to come to the ground. And now we go the other way. So switch the way. You're circling backwards now on your bicycle. 3 more here. 3, 2, 1, and 1. Ooh. Come all the way down. Take a nice deep breath. Hands, I'm going to, mine have just been right there waiting for me. I'm coming back to hands on my weights again. I'm going to practice curling forward here. So take a nice deep breath. Curl forward and inhale, come down. Being on the weights is kind of nice. Kind of push down a little bit into the weights. Inhale back down. We'll do 5 more. 4 more. And 3. 2. And 1 more time. All the way down. Okay, relax through your parts for a minute. Inhale, exhale. So I'm going to keep these weights right here. I'm going to put them down. For the first part of the arm series, I am going to pick up a heavier weight here. For the second part, I think coming to the 5 was a better idea. We'll see. So we have our elbows close by, belly button is in, extend up, bend and tap, and down and up. Maybe I'm not going all the way to the mat now. Feels a little bit safer for me to come right to my ears. Maybe. Yeah, play around with that for yourself, how deeply you bring your weights towards the mat. Let's do 4 more sets. 4. And 3. Deep breaths. 2. 1 more each way. And then come all the way down, just to take a breath. And then come back up, turn the palms forward. So, elbows wide and back up again. This is a piece of cake for me with 8 pounds. Almost easier than the other 2 moves I just did. I'm going to do a set of those first. Because I think coming back to the 5s for the next move is a better choice. I'm going to do 4 more here. Elbows wide, back up. And 3. 2. 1 more time. And then just for fun, I'm going to see how this feels. It's difficult. Maybe I'll do 4 more. 4. 3. 2. One more. Yeah, that was enough. And then come all the way down. I'm going to roll my wrists around just a little bit. Take a nice deep breath here. Inhale, exhale. I'm going to come into a goal post or cactus shape here. I may have to move my weights for this. I just want to do a quick stretch before we come to the hands and knees. So I'm going to bring my knees over to the right, and I'm going to look to the left. Two more breaths here. And then we'll come over to the other side. One more deep breath here. Okay, and then we'll come back to the center, and I'm going to roll to my side to come up to the hands and knees, okay, like we mentioned. So hands and knees. I'm going to keep the weights right there. We'll do that. We'll do a little bit more weight work in just a minute, but hands back underneath the chest. I think I'm going to face you this way. See what I'm doing a little bit better, maybe slightly to the side. Okay, so hands under shoulders, knees under hips, long through the spine. Gravity pulls you up out of your wrists. Spread your fingers. Push the ground away. Let's push into the right hand and bring the left arm out to the side. And then bring the left arm back. Spread the fingers. Transfer your weight a little bit. Fully, in fact, into that palm. And then bring the right arm out. And return. Reach. And return. Reach. And now we're going to start to add in the right leg as you bring the left arm out. I'm going to keep my toes down. And then return, and then the left. Continue to lift the left hip and the chest. And then again, lift the right hip as you extend that leg out. And then other side. One more each way. Maybe a little different this time. I'm going to bring my left arm forward. And then the right. And then we'll just take a moment here. Sit back towards the heels. Roll your shoulders around, ear to shoulder a couple times. Inhale, exhale. Maybe a little bit of a roll through. And let's bring the arms out nice and wide for just a minute. I think being up here might be better. And then you can bring your hands behind your tush, hook your thumbs, reach the fingertips down, stretch through the chest. Inhale, exhale. Okay, so we're going to come back here. So I wanted to practice, I think I'm going to go with the 5s first. I think the 8s may be a lofty goal. I'm going to hold on to my 5s in this position. So I'm going to wrap my hands around the weights. And just a quick wrist note here. It's easy to sink sink down into the joint of the wrist in a similar way that you would do on the floor, but I like the idea of kind of reaching the knuckles toward the wrists and getting a longer look here to the wrist, just so you're not sinking into the joint, but you're actively using it, okay? So try that. So spine is long, same thing that we've been doing. Check out those wrists. We're going to extend the right leg with the toes down, belly button is in. You're transferring your weight into your left arm for a moment, and you're coming up and then back down, and then you're going straight back and then back down, up. Right hip stays up, long spine, up and back. One more, each way, up and back. And then we have to switch it out. Left leg back, belly button is in, row, extend, row, extend, row, reach, one more each way, and reach. And then come all the way down. A little bit of a wrist thing here, right? Roll it around. One more inhale, exhale. Okay. I'm going to come back to these weights one more time. Kind of want to try 8s, but I don't know, maybe 5s are still the best choice for me. So now we're going to try a plank with this position. If you hate the way the weights feel, get rid of them, okay? I'm going to bring my hands a bit more narrow. When I come out into my plank, I'm bringing my feet wide. Wide feet, wider than my hips, wider than my shoulders a little bit. I'm holding here for 3, 2, 1 more. Carefully coming down. Taking a stretch. And I'm going to try to add rowing of the arm. So what is this, called a renegade row, I think is what the internet likes to call this move, okay? So I'm coming back, wide feet, narrow hands, plank. Okay, so for me, I am not going to lift any more excess weight. I'm going to try to I'm coming down. I'm going to try to practice the movement without the weight. It's just a feeling I get in my pelvis that doesn't feel nice. One more each way for me. All the way down. Okay, so kind of building and building towards that more advanced move. Circling it back is still probably would be the best bet for me. Let's take a nice deep breath here. Inhale, exhale. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of these weights, push them off to the side. We're just going to do a little bit of side body work here. All right, so come onto your right side. I'm going to come onto my right side first. Knees bent, elbow under shoulder. See if you can get your knees away, hips forward. You want to be fairly straight through the front of you. The exercise begins when you plug your right shoulder in. Try to find that, I'm using my hand here, spread your fingers. I like to bring my arm up for this. Take a nice deep breath. And hips up. Hold here. Continue to keep that shoulder plugged in. One more deep breath. Come all the way down. Take a nice deep breath. One more, inhale, exhale. Okay, we're gonna try that one more time, a little bit different. Plug the shoulder in, arm up, inhale. Exhale, lift. top knee. Lower and left. 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. All the way down. And come up to sit. It's a lot of work. Other side. Okay. So the exercise, you're ready to go when you can get your elbow under your shoulder. Spread those fingers apart, kind of push down through the forearm and the palm. Drive the bottom elbow down. Take a nice deep breath. And we lift. And we're holding and breathing. One more breath here. All the way down. This exercise feels so different for me on this side. I don't know if you experience that too. Okay, so we'll try it again. Drive the elbow and the palm down, plug that shoulder in, reach up and hips come up. And knee. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 more. All the way down. All the way down. My goodness. I think I want to do a stretch with my foam roller for my back. If there's something that you feel like you want to do right now that sounds like, yeah, that should come next in terms of a stretch, I think I'm going to do this foam roller behind my back. Just like that. And yeah, back and forth. This is almost like getting an adjustment for me. Each time I go back and forth, I just very, very small. I move myself so I'm a little bit further forward or a little bit further back. So it kind of slowly rolls out the vertebra going up towards the cervical spine. I don't ever roll onto my cervical spine. I stop when I get to the top of my shoulder girdle, and then I go back down again. One more. And if it feels like a nice idea for you to open your chest and bring the arms wide for a breath or two, you can go for that. And then hands back, curl it up. I'm going to bring my hands right behind my thighs. Come all the way up to sit. Before I come up to stand, quick spine stretch forward. Come back to a little Pilates. Feet wider than the shoulders. Arms straight ahead. Super big lift. Imagine you have that dowel right behind you. Pull your head, your shoulder girdle, and your sacrum into the dowel, and then we'll peel off of it. And then roll up through the spine to return, relaxing the shoulders, sitting a little taller than you started. Flex your feet. Inhale, lift up, and stretch forward. Imagine you can open your own vertebrae up apart from one another a little bit. Give them a little bit of space. And then roll it back up. Last one here. One more thing before you're free. I'm just gonna stand kind of close to the wall here, and I'm gonna bring my right hand with my fingertips looking back, and then I'm just gonna reach back with my left arm, big ol' stretch. I like to come all the way around, tap the wall, and go back out. All the way around, tap the wall, and back out. One more here. And then we'll switch to the other side. Other arm. Just like relax that shoulder a little bit, even though I know it's tight and this is like a really weird angle. One more. And then we'll bring the arms down. Stand nice and tall, relax your shoulders, a belly breath. One more. Stand tall, relax your shoulders. Think about something fun. Have a good day. Enjoy.